In the 1st century, I wrote a history of the Jews under the Roman Empire. The most well-known ruler of the Jews under Rome was a man named Herod, later known as Herod the Great. Herod the Great was born in 73 BC, and there were several rulers named Herod. They were all related to the star of our play. Herod the Great was the son of Herod Antipater, a convert to Judaism and great ally of Julius Caesar in the Roman outposts of Judea. For his loyalty to Rome, Herod Antipater's son, our Herod the Great, was named governor of Galilee and later received the title King of Judea. Herod the Great's sons, Archelaus, Philip, and Antipas inherited his rule. Antipas's affair with Philip's wife, Herodias, led to the beheading of John the Baptist. Jesus the Christ stood before this same Herod Antipas in Jerusalem before he was sentenced to death by crucifixion. His grandson Herod Agrippa had Peter, the leader of the apostles, arrested and also ordered the execution of James, the first bishop of Jerusalem. Herod the Great reigned for 46 years, much of it during the Pax Romana, or the golden age of the Roman Empire, which stretched from Britannia to Syria. During this time, he left his mark on history through clever politics, balancing his loyalty to Rome with pleasing the Jewish citizens of his kingdom. He was ruthless, killing anyone who stood in his way, including 2 sons and at least 2 of his 10 wives. Herod also left his mark by way of an aggressive building program throughout Judea and Palestine. Let's join a meeting of Herod the Great with his advisors in the year 0, or 7 BC according to some scholars, the year of the birth of Jesus Christ.
What news have you guys of the latest from Rome?
O King of Judea, you are of course the most favored exarch of our Lord Caesar Augustus, Emperor of Rome, with whom it is well, despite tensions from certain citizens who foolishly still grieve the loss of Brutus and Cassius, those wretched murderers of our Lord Julius Caesar. Our Lord Mark Antony and Her Highness Cleopatra send their greetings from the eastern end of the empire and want to thank you for the lavish gifts that reached them at Alexandria. They invite you to be their guests at the upcoming festival of Jupiter at their palace on the Nile. The empire continues to expand to the northwest as our armies conquer territories in Germania and an area they call the Low Countries.
We have to be careful of our relationship with those 2 in Egypt. While I enjoy their festivities, I cannot chance further jealousy from Caesar and the senators in Rome, not to mention the Hebrews who don't know a good party when they see one.
Well, Your Highness.
Decline with my sincere regrets. Speaking of armies, what's the state of our military, Claudius?
O Supreme Commander, your army is stronger than ever. We did dispatch a few hundred men on the eastern front of the empire, in Mesopotamia, and by the way things have been going there, we probably won't see them again.
Supporting this cause will do much to gain favor with your people, Your Highness. There are still many Jews in that area from the time of the exile.
Claudius, dispatch half a legion, and let's be done with those Babylonians once and for all. But somehow I wonder if there will ever be peace in Mesopotamia. And how are our finances, Festus?
Your Highness's treasury is in fine condition, considering the massive building projects in the kingdom. The revenue from traders from the east is pouring into the economy. The demand for incense from Arabia is at an all-time high. All of those new temples in Rome are really good for the incense merchants. The census and tax decreed by Caesar Augustus is good for those catering to travelers, even though they say it's hard to get a decent room at any of the inns in the area. However, I must report that some of the Hebrews are refusing to pay the tax. Some of the Jews are even refusing to touch Roman money. Perhaps the high priest can explain this strange behavior.
It is not the Roman tax on the Jews that is the problem. We accept this in return for the great freedoms we so graciously received from Your Highness. The problem is that the coins carry the image of Caesar, and as you know, being the great scholar of Judaic law that you are, it is against the law of Moses to make any graven image, especially of the pagan ruler that the Romans worship as a god.
Festus, mint new coins in Jerusalem without my image and put some religious stuff on them so the Jews will be more than happy to use them. This will, of course, be seen as a great act of humility on the part of yours truly, further endearing me to my subjects. I am, after all, a very devout Jew.
Well, again,
Tell me about our building projects, Darius, and speak slowly. I can't understand that awful Egyptian accent of yours.
Your Highness, the great fortress of Massacre is a marvel of modern construction that is receiving great freedoms by visitors from near and far. The new port at Caesarea, with its new hippodrome, amphitheater, aqueducts, and bridges, is being hailed as the most wonderful in all the world. Quite frankly, Your Highness, it makes Alexandria look like a fish pond. And in Jerusalem, there were thousands of pilgrims for the recent feast, and they were singing praises for Your Highness, for your great devotion to the Hebrew God and sincere love of their people.
again,
Tell me again about the temple, Darius. I can never remember all the details.
It took 10,000 men 10 years to rebuild the great temple. The Holy of Holies is covered in gold. The great tapestries that hang there depict the whole vista of the heavens. The fixtures are of the finest gold, silver, and bronze. It is truly a modern wonder.
Oh, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to behold the beauty of the Lord and to inquire in his temple.
but why did Your Highness insist on putting that Roman eagle above the entrance to the temple? Many Jews view this as sacrilege, a defilement to the sacred and holy temple. The zealots are protesting on the Temple Mount, which could spread to other parts of Jerusalem.
It's always something, isn't it? I build the most exquisite house of worship in the world, and all I hear about is how the Pharisees are upset over one little eagle. Claudius, take care of the protesters in a manner that will discourage further discontent.
As you command, Your Royal Highness.
Caesarea may well be the most beautiful port city in the world, Your Highness, but I must remind you that theaters and public baths are the pleasures of the pagans, not of us, God's chosen people. And how could a pious believer such as Your Royal Highness allow a temple to be built in Judea dedicated to Caesar as a god? Some are seriously questioning the faith of Your Highness.
You watch it, old man, or I'll have you dragged into the Colosseum with the other zealots for a game of tag with the lions. I try to bring a little of the cultured world of the Greeks to this desert, and this is the gratitude I get. How are our crops and stores, Felix?
O great King of Judea, it appears that God has once blessed us again with record harvest. The new vineyards in Samaria are brimming with grapes and olive crops in Gaza and will ensure a huge surplus of oil for years to come. The wine from Judea is among the most prized in the world.
Is there any other news for my kingdom?
There is a report of Magi from the east, Your Highness, with many camels and horses, who are said to be following a star in search of the King of the Jews.
In search of what? Speak up, man.
In search of the King of the Jews.
Well, that's me, of course.
Not you, Your Highness. They're in search of the Messiah, a newborn king sent from God who will rule from the throne of David.
That's my throne, and I will decide who sits upon it. Bring in the scribes and the high priests, and let's get to the bottom of this Messiah business. Who are these Magi, and what are they doing in my kingdom?
Magi are priestly scholars from Midian or Persia, often experts in natural sciences. They believe that the alignment of the stars and planets can influence the course of history. They are mystics who interpret dreams and can foretell the future.
What does my astrologer see in the heavens?
There are several remarkable occurrences taking place, Your Highness. Venus and Saturn are very close, making them seem as one in the eastern sky. Venus and Jupiter are coming together in the constellation of Leo. Jupiter, the king of planets, is actually going to pass over Regulus, the king of stars. These wise men in our camels are most likely following the star in search of a new king.
And what do the scribes have to say about these Magi?
Isaiah the prophet said, the camels of Midian and Ephah shall come, they shall bring gold and incense, and they shall show forth the praises of the Lord. And in the book of Psalms it says, the kings of Tarshish and of the isles shall bring presents, the kings of Sheba and Seba shall offer gifts.
Tell me about this king. Where should he be born?
The prophet Micah foretold, "And thou, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, art not the least among the princes of Judah. For out of thee shall come a governor, who shall rule my people Israel."
My sons have nothing to fear. No king could ever come from that poor little village. My throne is secure. See, I am the king of the Jews, and for all I've done for them, they should regard me as their savior as well.
But you are not of the house of Judah, your highness. Your father was Idumean, a descendant of Esau, not of Jacob.
His mother was an Arab, not a Jew.
Who said that? Tell me what the scriptures say about this new king who shall come from Bethlehem.
There are many prophecies about the Messiah. He shall be born of a virgin. His name shall be Emmanuel, meaning God with us. His ministry will make Galilee glorious. The Spirit of the Lord shall rest upon him. He will cure the blind, deaf, dumb, and lame. He will be preceded by a messenger. He will triumphantly enter Jerusalem, seated on a foal. He shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace, and the government shall be on his shoulders.
The prophet Daniel has foretold the Messiah will come into Jerusalem seated on a foal. And according to some scholars, the date draws near, your highness.
Let's not forget the critical prophecy from Genesis. The scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet until Shiloh come.
Meaning,
The Messiah will come only after a descendant of the house of Judah no longer sits upon the throne of David. And that's you.
And the Messiah will deliver the Jews from a foreign ruler. And that could, well, be you, your highness.
stop. Enough of this prophecy nonsense. I have one question for the high priest. Am I the king of the Jews or not?
Your Royal Highness is King of all Judea and Galilee, which includes the holy city of Jerusalem. You are the rebuilder and guardian of the Temple of Solomon, and therefore no one can deny that you are indeed the King of the Jews.
The high priest has spoken. Let it be known here, in Galilee, in Syria, in Jerusalem, in Egypt, and everywhere, that no one shall bear the title King of the Jews, except for me and the Son upon whom I confer this title. Is that clear?
Yes, Your Highness.
Gaius, bring these wise men to me. I want to learn more of their wisdom, but tell no one of their coming. I don't want to make a fuss over a couple of foreign magicians.
As you command, sire.
Welcome, O sages from the east. Welcome to the city of Jerusalem and the kingdom of Judea. Tell me, what brings you to our little country, and from whence have you come? Some have said that you are kings.
We are not kings, but we do hold high offices in our government. We are priests from Medes, often called Persia, who practice an ancient religion handed down to our forefathers from the ancient priests Zoroaster. We worship one God and look to the heavens for our inspiration. We have seen a new star rising that can only be attributed to the coming of the king.
We have followed this star for about 9 months by day and by night, and it has led us to Jerusalem, where we have come to worship him that is born, King of the Jews.
What kind of star moves from east to west and from north to south and shines in the day as well as the night? What you have described is not the star Regulus as my astrologer advises. Why haven't I seen this star?
This is no naturally occurring star, Your Highness. It is a mystical star, a noetic star, evidently seen only by us.
And the ancient priests long predicted that the star shall rise out of Jacob.
And how do you know so much about our Jewish religion, seeing that you are magicians?
We are not magicians, Your Highness. We are Magi, philosophers in search of truth. I have the same name as your prophet Daniel, whom we call Balthazar, who, although a pious Jew, was also the chief Magi in the court of King Nebuchadnezzar 600 years ago during the great Hebrew captivity. It was Daniel who told our priests that the Messiah of the world would be announced by a star.
Tell me, have you found this Messiah?
No, when we arrived in Bethlehem, the star that had guided us by day and by night disappeared.
Disappeared? So maybe this was all a terrible mistake. What a shame you have come so far for nothing. I shall replenish your supplies, and after a rest you can return to Persia from whence you came.
We will not return until we worship him who the heavens proclaim, for whom all creation has been waiting anxiously since the creation of the world. We have also brought gifts for the newborn king.
Gifts?
We have brought him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh.
Strange gifts for a child, don't you think?
Gold, a fitting gift for a king.
Frankincense, an offering to God.
But what about myrrh, a bitter herb used in embalming the dead? This is not fitting for the Messiah who will reign forever.
The prophet Isaiah said that the Messiah would suffer, even unto death, to save his people.
Oh, this is exciting. The Messiah, born right here in my kingdom, in the little town of Bethlehem. Who would have thought it? Go and search diligently for the young child, and when you have found him, bring me word again that I may come and worship him also. Gaius, be sure our visitors are well fed, and their horses and camels too.
Yes, Your Royal Highness.
The Apostle Matthew, also a famous Jewish historian like myself, I might add, records what the Magi did next. When they had heard the king, they departed, and lo, the star which they saw in the east went before them, till it came and stood over where the young child was. When they saw the star, they rejoiced with exceeding great joy. And when they had come into the house, they saw the young child with Mary his mother, and fell down and worshipped him. And when they had opened their treasures, they presented unto him gifts, gold and frankincense and myrrh. And being warned in a dream that they should not return to Herod, they departed into their own country another way. And when they were departed, behold, the angel of the Lord appeareth to Joseph in a dream, saying, Arise, and take the young child and his mother, and flee into Egypt, and be thou there until I bring thee word. For Herod will seek the young child to destroy him. When he arose, he took the young child and his mother by night, and departed into Egypt.
In Bethlehem of Judah, the star shall rise out of Jacob, and the scepter shall pass. They shall bring gold and incense. King of the Jews, I'll show them who's king of the Jews. Claudius!
Yes, Your Highness.
Gather your best men and your sharpest knives. I want every baby in Bethlehem and the surrounding areas dead before the next Sabbath. This pretender to my throne must be eradicated.
Every baby? The streets will run red with blood. What great king must make war on innocent babes? You'll be ridiculed. I beg Your Highness to allow my men to do a thorough search of Bethlehem. We'll find this baby boy and we'll bring him to you.
I will not be mocked by star worshippers and dreamers. And I will not let you and your incompetent goons let this child escape like you let those Persian Magi slip away from right under your nose. I should have your head for that. Now go, slay every child, boy and girl, under the age of 2, and be done with it. And take care of that high priest and his minions while you're at it.
As you command, my lord.
The streets did run red with the blood of innocent children, 14,000 by some accounts. Thus was the prophecy of Jeremiah fulfilled. In Ramah was there a voice heard, lamentation and bitter weeping, and great mourning, Rachel, synonymous with Bethlehem, weeping for her children, and would not be comforted, because they are not. By slaughtering the innocents, Herod created the first martyrs of the Christian church, who, becoming citizens of the kingdom of heaven, further mocked his earthly kingdom, exposing his madness for all future generations. Herod also killed Hyrcanus, the high priest, his own father-in-law, 70 elders from the Sanhedrin. And so it was that men who formerly worshipped the stars in the east were taught by a star to worship the one true God, the Son of Righteousness, the Orient from on high. In doing this, they were the first Gentiles to worship Christ, bringing the message of the Incarnation to Persia, a land that has already produced many Christian martyrs. After they returned to their own land, tradition teaches that they were baptized by the Apostle Thomas, who, after Pentecost, spread the gospel to the east, even as far as to India. The Magi returned to their own country another way, practically to escape Herod's soldiers, and symbolically to show that men must take a new path after coming to the knowledge of Christ. In the Magi, we see how the church accepts human knowledge and wisdom that leads to the discovery of the true God, just as the light of the stars led the wise men to the worship of the true light. One of the Christian bishops, Ignatius of Antioch, is preaching that the new wisdom from on high has made worldly wisdom folly, and all magic has lost its power. Tradition holds that the Magi were of different ages, perhaps even different countries, thus giving the example that people of all ages and nations can come to the knowledge of Christ. For 3 years, Herod was tortured day and night by the guilt of the murders of the holy innocents. At the same time, he was driven mad by the demon of pride, not knowing whether he had indeed slain the newborn king of the Jews. In the year 4 BC, Herod died a most miserable and painful death. But when Herod was dead, behold, an angel of the Lord appeareth in a dream to Joseph in Egypt, saying, Arise, take the young child and his mother, and go into the land of Israel, where they are dead, which sought the young child's life.
Wait, I won't take your